Coordinated, episode 310, February 2026, monthly action items. Greetings, AP coordinators. I'm Karli Suge, school counselor and AP coordinator.
And I'm Abby McCrate, also a school counselor and, of course, AP coordinator. Thanks for joining us. It's Monday, February 2nd, 2026. And Karli and I are here to talk about what's happening this month for us as AP coordinators.
And what a pivotal month it is. As we talked about last month, January had an important action item for us, the SSD accommodations request deadline. And while the month of February doesn't contain a specific deadline for AP coordinators, February is when we can take stock of what we need to do before finalizing our exam order in March and training proctors in April, and so on. Boy, there's a lot to do.
I love that you said that, Karli, because I think of February in the exact same way. Like February is time to get my AP stuff in order, right? Now, for me, I find that usually means I need to revisit, revise, maybe update the spreadsheet that I keep of rooms that I'm using for testing in May. Some years I have that spreadsheet set in December. Other years it is March before I can turn my attention to it.
Yeah, well, then today, why don't we talk about choosing exam rooms and setting both the rooms and our students up for success?
Yes, please. Let's do that. I know some of our fellow coordinators have probably already decided on testing locations, and we applaud you for that. Nice work. But I know it would definitely help me to review some of the things we consider when choosing which rooms to use for AP exams. And maybe through our conversation, we can share a tip or trick or two, Karli. You know, I've done this job for a while, but I do feel like setting up the testing environment, that's where I can always make things more smooth and efficient. I feel like it's really important for the students. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm all for it. Let's talk exam locations, let's talk seating reminders, and let's talk about a few things that we've learned along the way. It's time for a conversation about making this year the best year yet for AP testing. It's time to get coordinated.
Hey, Karli. Hello, it's February. We are more than halfway through the school year. How are you feeling about that?
Hey, Abby. February feels kind of bittersweet. It feels kind of like things are happening, but things are about to be way busier in the next couple of months.
Also glad you said that, because that's how I feel. It's usually February is that last somewhat calm month before all of the end of the school year activity. I start meeting with juniors about scheduling for next school year. We also start shaping their college lists together. I've got seniors making their college plans, and then it's spring break, and then it's graduation, and then it's celebration. Also, could just be me, but February is also when things start to feel really real in terms of preparing for AP exams.
Yeah, not just you. That is real indeed. We're just a few months away from the first week of AP exams, which means we still have time, but it's also time.
Oh, yeah.
There's no better time to make sure all of our plans are falling into place.
It's so true. And what better way to do that than by reviewing the testing locations and room setups that we'll need for exam day? Like I said, it might be selfish on my part, but that is really what I need to do this February. Like, I really need to do it right now, like as soon as we're done recording this podcast, because I kid you not, our secretary today was like, hey, Abby, you know that spreadsheet that you usually share at the end of first semester with all the room locations? Do you have that for me? I want to get everything on the calendar. And I was like, oh, yeah, it's coming. It's coming. So thank you, I guess, Karli and our fellow coordinators for indulging me. I am on a mission to get this spreadsheet done.
Absolutely. It's always helpful to revisit best practices for those exam locations and seating students.
I agree, because, I think one thing I didn't fully appreciate when I first started this coordinator job was how much of our students' overall success on test day really comes down to the testing environment. Exam security and student performance rely in part on test day considerations like seating, noise control, and like room locations.
Yeah, for sure. So let's discuss those things.
All right, let's start.
Okay, let's start with room locations. I know that this is a frequent topic of conversation on Chat with a Coordinator. And quick plug for our popular Chat with a Coordinator sessions. Please sign up to join us for an upcoming session. A link is available in the show notes. But coordinators are often talking about what rooms make the best testing rooms. And most of us are also dealing with limited space on our campuses. I mean, it's not easy, right? We don't always get the rooms we want or dream of, but we can do the best we can.
Right.
So what locations do you find work best for testing for you, Abby?
Well, I think I'm probably like most coordinators, and that I prefer to use our gym and our cafeteria for my largest exams. Those spaces check all of the boxes. They are large enough for all the tables or desks I need. There is a bathroom nearby in each of those places. There is great ventilation and airflow, which is so necessary when you're putting a lot of teenagers together in a room for 3+ hours. Like, I feel like that's something I might have overlooked early on. And now I'm like, I need air. I need space. And both of those locations are relatively quiet. On that last point about quiet, our cafeteria is really ideal. Like, it's truly the prime testing location. It's one of our farthest buildings on campus. It's not subject to the noise of passing periods. It's beautiful, but it's also our cafeteria, and kids have to eat.
Right.
So I have to work with our cafeteria team to move our lunch service on those really heavy testing days. And I know that displaces our whole, cafeteria team. So shout out to all of the people that help make exams happen on a high school campus. Can we say team effort?
Team effort.
Thank you. So what about you, Karli? Do you have an ideal testing location or two? Do you find yourself having to do this negotiating when it comes to the use of spaces?
My prime location is our library. I can clear out some of the library seating and fit enough tables in there to test even my biggest exams. And
Oh,
my
wow.
sweet librarian protects the first 2 weeks of May for me like a hawk. My biggest issues are when two tests are happening at the same time, and then I need to find an alternate location for the smaller of those two exams, like classrooms, offices. I don't know. I like the cafeteria idea, Abby.
Yeah, it does work really well if you can arrange that, with food service. Um, Classrooms. Yeah, that's a good point. When you have two same day, same time, and your large space is taken up, so then you have to find something smaller. Classrooms can be hard, right? Especially if
Mm-hmm.
they're like right in the middle of campus.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah. So thinking of this, we've been talking about the ideals, right, for larger numbers of students. I'm also wondering about what kinds of spaces you use for students with accommodations. I found that that's where I often have to get creative.
That's so true. It was helpful when we received the AP accommodations guide last year and learned that students with certain accommodations can test together. So being able to combine some students with different amounts of extended time, for example, made it so that I could test those students together in
Right.
like our college and career center instead of individual offices for all of those students, so that I
Yeah.
didn't have to take up as many rooms for that
Mhm.
testing.
Yeah, that was really a really nice change. We talked about the AP accommodations guide in our January podcast when we were talking about the SSD request deadline. But I'm going to put the link again in the show notes here because it is pages 35 to 38 of this accommodations guide that have those really helpful tables.
Yes.
The tables that let us know which students with which accommodations are allowed to test together. And I know that having that information definitely helped me consolidate testing spaces. So
Yeah.
helpful.
I use that today.
Did you really?
Yeah, I did. In the past, I'd have to find a room for students with 50% extended time and a separate room for students with 100% extended time. But now, for digital exams, I can combine students with up to half time and students with up to double time in one room. And it works really well, cuts out a lot of the stress of having to find that additional room.
That's true. And, if I have a student who needs to test one-on-one, or let's say students who are approved to use a computer for essays, because I'll sometimes have one or maybe two of those, I find it's like I can find them a smaller space, really like an office. That's kind of my ideal when I just have one or two students.
Hmm.
Um, but in the past, it would be like I'd have to use an office, and then I'd have to use like a smaller classroom, and then for 50%, I'd have to use
Mm-hmm.
a bigger classroom for 100%. So trying to find multiple small rooms was much harder, right? When you had to accommodate each different type of accommodation.
Yeah, so it sounds like you don't have to be as creative as you did before digital exams, Abby, which is a welcome change that came with digital testing.
That's so true. Because also creativity is not my strong suit. Ah, but, being able to take up fewer spaces for testing makes me feel also like things will run more smoothly because my attention isn't divided
Hmm.
between so many exam rooms. And bonus, it's fewer proctors to train.
That is a bonus. That's a big one.
Mhm. Talking about digital testing in particular has me thinking that it might be helpful to talk about what we've learned about rooms and seating as it relates to digital testing in general.
Hmm.
Because we've done it. We did it last year, maybe even the year before. But
Mhm.
so, Carly, what's a pro tip you have for me and our fellow AP coordinators now that you've been through digital testing? What are
Hmm.
some things we might not have thought of in relation to testing rooms?
Yeah, I mean, if you haven't given digital exams before or you're using a new room, I think the biggest, I guess, pro tip I can offer about the room setup is just to keep the locations of your outlets or your power sources in mind when you are deciding seating. Think first about how you can utilize your charging space. Maybe you're going to use power strips. Maybe you're going to find different areas of the room where you can have charging towers, whatever that looks like at your site, and kind of build the seating design around that.
Ooh, that is brilliant. I like the idea of building the seating design around the available
Mhm.
power outlets. That's really smart. Rather
Mhm.
than getting all these tables and desks in there and being like, how am
Yeah,
I going to provide power to people when they might need to charge?
right. That's not one you wanna have to figure out on test day.
Correct.
So, what about you, Abby? Any hard-earned wisdom to share about digital testing and exam locations?
Oh, you know it. Well, mine relates more to the type of seating that's available to students in each exam location. I'm going to use tables as opposed to desks as often as possible this year. In the past, before digital testing, I would always, like, side note, my school hardly ever uses desks anymore. Like, most classrooms have tables
Mhm.
with, like, like wheelie chairs.
Mm.
Kids these days, they get so much good stuff. Uh, so I used to bring in desks for AP testing. But last year, I found that my students' desks were a little bit cluttered,
Mm.
even though our desktops meet that minimum dimension of 12 inches by 15 inches of required space. That's what the part one of the manual says we have to have. But, if you think about it, for a fully digital exam, a student is going to have their testing device and scratch paper, something to write with on the scratch paper. They'll have the personalized project reference for computer science principles. And our students use MacBooks, so those definitely took up a good amount of space.
Right, and for hybrid exams, a student has their testing
Mm-hmm.
device. We use Chromebooks, scratch paper, a calculator if they choose, and maybe a reference sheet for
Right.
certain math and science exams. So there definitely are a few items that need to fit on that desk.
Yeah, I just remember being surprised last year, especially watching the math and science exams with
Mm.
the reference sheet. Like, the students were just having to shuffle papers and laptops around when they were testing, and it just seemed kind of clunky.
Mm.
So I feel like tables, when I can manage it, it's going to give the students a little more breathing room, so they can comfortably spread out.
That's a great point. I agree. Ideally, all of my students will be testing on tables as well. That's my plan for now, at least. Although sometimes I have to admit, I walk into my testing room in the morning and I'm missing a table or two. They just
Been there.
magically
Mm-hmm.
disappear overnight. And I'll need to get on the radio to get my, well, that's in air quotes, of course, my tables back. And a quick reminder that if we are using tables for testing, they need to be a minimum of 8 feet long for 2-person tables and 13 feet long for 3-person tables.
That's right. Those two-person tables are my jam. I love them. It's perfect. You got the 8 feet. There's 4 feet between the center of one student and the center of the next, and I just feel like they work really well, those 8-foot tables in our cafeteria and in our gym.
Wow. Abby, that is some real enthusiasm for tables.
Hey, we AP coordinators have to find those things that give us joy.
Mm,
And good exam rooms, adequate testing space for students, those things definitely make me happy.
agreed. Really, anything we can do to improve our students' testing experiences makes me very happy.
I second that. Having both students and the AP coordinator feeling calm and at ease about the testing experience, that's what we want. We want everybody really to have the best opportunity to shine
Mhm.
on exam day.
Because what a coordinator always wants is to feel like they're helping their students, like really making a difference, giving our students the chance to perform their best and keeping everything very, you know, coordinated. Thank you for joining us today. We hope you enjoyed the show.
Karli and I will be back with you in March to share what we're working on for the month. Hint, hint, we have another big deadline coming up.
Thanks for all the continued support of your AP students. No one does it better. No one. AP coordinators, we are truly good as gold.
And maybe I just don't know. I'll say it over and over and over again till I believe it's so. I'm good as gold.
Hey, AP coordinators, are you looking for quick answers to those common tasks we do in AP registration and ordering?
Especially some that we only do once a year, which, side note, Karli, for me, that is changing AP art and design portfolio types. I always need reminders about how to do that.
Absolutely, me too. Or would you like to teach your students how to troubleshoot their account login challenges before they come to you?
Mhm. If you answered yes to these questions, have we got the place for you?
The AP Coordinator Experience YouTube channel houses 4 different playlists as well as the Coordinated Podcast.
That's right, Karli, and it's an excellent resource. The playlist that might help us the most is the AP registration and ordering playlist. This features over 10 short videos on how to do everything in AP registration and ordering, from how to create a class section to, my personal favorite, how to switch AP Art and Design exams to how to switch students to late testing.
Support for AP students includes a video to help students troubleshoot any challenges they have when logging in to their College Board accounts. This is a favorite and a great way to ensure that our students are ready for exams in May.
We also have playlists for coordinators, the back to school workshops, and, cue the excitement, a new playlist coming in January that will really help us out with another big topic. Stay tuned.
Visit the AP Coordinator Experience YouTube channel for all these videos and more.